Folks, in the preamble, we dove into a disturbing trend of Democrat lawlessness gripping the country. Cybertrucks torched in Seattle just last night. More anti-DOJ demonstrations across the country, resulting in Democrats breaking the law. Let's talk with Pastor Frank Shelton, who spent 20 years on Capitol Hill. He also covered the White House administrations in daily press briefings and was on staff with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. Sir, welcome. Democrats, through their organizers, their officials, or politicians, they all send the signal they're above the law. And several key Republicans out there appear to agree with them by their inaction. How did we get here, and how do we get back?
Well, I'll tell you this, Chris, and thank you for having me on. But number one, it just seems like the devil is with death to America, death to small business, death to babies, death to marriage. Even mutilating your bodies. And, when I think of the Lord, it's light, love, and liberty. And, Jesus is filled with grace, but he also came to fulfill the law. And when we don't honor the law, we don't honor the Lord. But I believe when we honor the law, we actually honor the Lord. And I would encourage all my friends on the left, we need respect. I just think of the disrespect at the State of the Union you saw, where, bless his heart, but Congressman Al Green was literally pointing his cane in disrespect, and the sergeant at arms threw him off the floor. When you have a disrespect for the law, and you have a disrespect for life, and you have a disrespect for the Lord, you got to, now's the time to get back. I hope they'll see the light and move to the right. And I'm not just talking politically, but spiritually, because you cannot lose if you don't honor life and the law.
Yeah, Democrats really have no prompting of the conscience. That's why they can do the things to us they've been doing. Left-wingers from Joe Biden to politicians in Europe, they took responsibility for toppling the terrorist thug Bashar al-Assad. But those who fill the vacuum, al-Qaeda affiliates, have been brutally expanding the Christian genocide that's been going on in that region for years. Is this a cause that godless left-wingers and radical jihadists share, the eradication of Christians? If so, why do you think that is?
Well, I will tell you this. There's still some Christians on both sides of the fence. But if you recall, Chris, a couple years back at the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, they literally booed God off the platform. I'm telling you, God will not be mocked. I was also a chaplain at the Olympics in Paris. You may remember opening ceremonies. They did that God-awful mocking of the Lord's Supper. This is just crazy what we're up against. I think I heard 1,000 people have been murdered in the last 48 hours in Syria, of which 745 were civilians. Our brand new director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, actually said in her confirmation hearings that Syria posed a problem. And she was not only prophetic, she was on point. So I'm thankful that this White House, this administration, this president is actually fighting against religious persecution. It's ungodly, it's unconstitutional, and from the West, we would all agree it's un-American. So I'm thankful that this president is assembling a team. Just in the White House yesterday, Pastor Jensen Franklin with Paula White was actually with also victims from Israel that are being persecuted. That's part of the luxury of this new White House faith office. So our prayers are with them, but I really believe this needs to stop. And help is on the way. And I'm telling you, the Lord is where it's at. He's our only hope.
Amen. Amen. Pastor Frank Shelton, thank you, sir. Appreciate the time. Come back soon. Coming up, The View is